Hi, friends. Have I ever? How's everybody doing today? Hello, hello. Holy moly. You guys are on time and raring to go. I love it. Hi, everybody. Holy moly. Yeah. Celebrating 5 years. Woot woot. I'm like trying to figure out the best way to do this tonight. I should have previously downloaded StreamYard onto my phone. Hi, everybody. I had a very I feel like I usually get myself ready like 15 minutes ahead of time, and tonight I didn't because I was having a conversation about kombucha with people over on Instagram, and I got so sucked into all those DMs and people were answering my questions, and yeah, then I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to go. I'm on a new kombucha journey, not making my own or anything like that, just trying to drink it, seeing if it helps. Hello, hello, hello. How was everybody's day? Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. Yay. I would love to know before we get going on. So here's what's going to happen tonight. Let me just slow down. Hello. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited that I have been on BookTube for 5 years. That's crazy to me. 5 years. I never would have thought when I started that I would still be doing it and still enjoying it, and that some of my closest friends are now from people that I met through BookTube. That's crazy to me, and I love it, and it makes me very happy. I'm sorry to hear about your dog getting bit earlier. That's no fun. Oh, Kim, I'm sorry that you're an itchy hive mess. Oh, no. And yes, Christy, this is the Pink Lady kombucha. And of the 3 that I tried tonight, this is the one that I would get again. It's delicious. And it tastes like a hard cider, but it's not a hard cider. It's just fermented kombucha. Mushroom? Is it some kind of a mushroom, right? I don't really even know. But we'll see. Okay, so the plan tonight, and I'm a little nervous about this because I don't always do well with kind of on the spot things, but we're going to pull up my Goodreads because I have been sorting things I don't sort into lots of different folders of themes or genres. I try to do that and it just doesn't work for me. I don't keep up with it. But what I have kept up with since I believe since 2013, what I have kept up with is keeping track every year of the books that I read for that year. And I make a folder for that year at the beginning of the year, and everything that I read that year, I just add to that folder. So it's not just in my read folder, it's also in my, or is it a folder? I guess it is called a folder. It's also in my folder for that year. So we're going to go back to 2016. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I started in April of 2016. And so we're going to go back to 2016 and we're going to look through all the books that I read in 2016. And I'm going to talk about which ones have kind of stuck with me. And by that, I thought about it a lot after I read it. Maybe I still think about it. Maybe I can still remember a lot about it. Or maybe I can't. I don't know. We'll just kind of have a chat about my reading in the different years. Maybe we'll see some trends, some things change. I know I expect to see in 2016 a lot of YA fantasy because when I first started on BookTube, that's what I saw people reading and it all sounded good to me. And so I wanted to read what everybody else was talking about. And I kind of slowly went back more, I guess I should say, to what I know I like and what I don't like. And also, thank you, Nancy and Kim. Also, in the community tab, I don't know where it shows up for you, depending on where you're watching BookTube. But I put a post that I will be doing a Q&A whenever I get to 6,000, which is going to be soon. I believe I am currently, well, you guys, a bunch of you shared my post today, which is just so kind of you. I'm just refreshing the page so I can double check. I am at 5,986. So 14 more people would put me at 6,000. So sometime soon I will be doing a Q&A, and I'm not going to make a video announcing the Q&A because I'll get way too many questions. So I only put a post in that community tab thing. I don't know. It shows up on my phone. I don't know where to find it on the computer, but, I meant to be looking on here for StreamYard, because the problem is, if I'm on Goodreads, I don't also see StreamYard. I have to look just at the Goodreads tab. I don't know. Someone said I could do it through my phone, but I don't see an app for it. Do I do it through the web browser on my phone? I don't know. Anyways, we'll figure it out. I just won't see myself while I do that part. So you'll see my reaction. So the thing is, once I had this idea, I wanted to go right into Goodreads and look ahead of time so I could be prepared to talk to you. I'm like, no, I want to kind of do it real time with you guys. I'm trying to get myself centered. I want to do it real time with you guys so you're getting my legit reactions and thoughts about things. Before we do that, I can share what I'm reading. So today I just finished, I could take out the bookmark because I just finished it today, The Star-Crossed Sisters of Tuscany. I was reading this as a buddy read with Jamie, and it is fluffy and light and sweet, and it went in the directions that I wanted it to in a lot of ways. But I knocked off a star because there was a lot of unnecessary foul language, in my mind, foul language. In particular, using the name of Jesus, who is my God, using that as a curse word. And that just takes me aback every time. So it knocked off a star because the language was just not necessary. It wasn't necessary. I have not finished Miracle Creek. I haven't actually read beyond like the first chapter. So I'm still reading Miracle Creek. And then I was meant to read Big Lies in a Small Town, 50 pages a day. I'm like 4 days behind where I wanted to be at this point. So I'm reading Big Lies in a Small Town and Miracle Creek now. I was reading 3. Now I'm just reading 2. And I don't have an audiobook going right now. Amy, I don't know how people I think people take a screenshot, because I think you used to be able to share directly from somebody's stories to your story, but now I think you have to take a screenshot. Yeah. So thank you guys all so much for being here. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you, to be honest, because you are all the best. The best little corner of the internet. And this is my like end of the day nanny hair, and I'm getting my hair colored tomorrow. So the gray is out in full force. So it's just like a hot mess today. Yeah. I can sometimes get past language in a book, especially if it feels like it fits the narrative. But when it just is extra, like it did not need to be in this book at all. And for the whole middle section, there was barely any. So it was really at the beginning, a lot at the beginning. Then there was very little. And then towards the end, again, I was like, do we need that there? Please stop. Oh, thank you, DB. I don't know your full name, but thank you. It makes me like honored and scared that you trust me for book recommendations, because I really don't read to be critical. I don't always read to learn. I like it when I learn when I read, but I mainly read for entertainment and escapism in a way, but mostly just entertainment. And so I don't always feel like I'm reading very in-depth literary works. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I just want to have fun and read a good book. Most of the time, I just want to have fun and read a good book. That's funny. Oh, Sarah, I'm curious what you think about Pachinko. That was not one of my favorites. I loved the beginning, and then I just didn't care by the end. I did finish it, but yeah. Deb, thank you. That makes sense, Dibby. Deb, that kind of makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, Noah. All right, so because this is not going to be as long as my reading sprints ones. I'm kind of hoping to keep it on the shorter side. Oh, do you know what I can do? Oh, but then you don't see my screen. I'll just hop back and forth. It's okay. I'm a technological newbie. Not newbie. I've been doing this for 5 years, but yeah, I'm not very technologically minded. So I don't know. I should have figured this out a little bit sooner. Sorry. So we're going to hop over to Goodreads. You'll see me and Goodreads, what I'm doing on that screen. And we will take a look at, we'll start with 2015. And I would love to hear from you guys. Well, first of all, how long have you guys been following me or like watching my channel or whatever? Like, has it been a year? Has it been 5 months? Has it been 4 years? I'm trying to think of, there's not going to be that many that have been here for the long haul because yeah, it's been a long time, but I would love to know that while I'm going over here to get Goodreads going. Let me see. I can add this to the stream. So here's my Goodreads. A few months, Deb, this year. Nice. 2 years, 2 years. A lot of people said 2 years. And I think that makes sense. A lot of people find me through middle grade March. 3 years for you, Patricia. 2.5 years. Nice. Welcome. 3 middle grade Marches. Yeah, Christy. It's a lot of why people have found me. Amy, since June, 2 years. Cool. 3 years, Rebecca. 4 years, Beth. Woo woo. So far, you're the longest. I love it. Okay, so we're going to go take a look at Goodreads, and I'm going to start with 2015, and we're going to see what, oh, Melissa. I forget that you were watching way longer than when you started your channel. Okay, we're going to go over here. 2016. I read 95 books in 2016. And I think I want to sort them by date read. Oh, of course. Oh, I reread Anne of Green Gables. That's fun. I love that book so much. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to go through the list and just chat about the books. If you see books, I'll keep, so when I go over to Goodreads, I can't see the comments. So I'll keep popping back over to look at comments. If you see something that stands out to you or, oh, since Jamberry days, that's since the beginning, Jennifer. That is since the beginning because that's where the jams comes from. Holy moly. And I only sold those for a little while. Anyways, okay. Thank you, Rainey. Welcome. All right, so we're going to go. Feel free to comment on any of the books. I will kind of comment about ones that stand out to me, like things that I really remember about them or, yeah, Deb. Jams is not music. I love music, but no, jams is because I used to sell Jamberry nails and I don't anymore. I don't even know. Is it even a thing anymore? I don't know. All right. I keep getting distracted. Here we go. I'm going to go through the list. Anne of Green Gables. Obviously that stands out to me because it's an all-time fave. Ruby, I didn't even rate it. Look at that. Ink and Bone, a series that I enjoyed when I read it, but not that much, clearly. 3-star. Here we go. Cinder, The Lunar Chronicles. I flew through The Lunar Chronicles right before I started my channel. I think I started them in February and I started my channel in April, obviously. Today's the anniversary. And I loved them. I did not think that I was going to because Cinder is a cyborg and there's like a metal piece in there. And I was like, no, that is not going to be a book for me. But I really enjoyed it. So Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Winter. I read them all. Binge them. I don't do that anymore with series, but I did at the time. Let's see. Uprooted was super popular. Red Queen was popular, but it was like not well received. Persepolis, Rook. I don't remember anything about some of these. The Cinderella Princess. That looks great, but I don't remember anything about it. Okay, Between Shades of Grey. Here and Nightingale. Oh, right in a row. So Between Shades of Grey, I remember reading the end of it in Panera. And I would stop every paragraph or so and look up because I was if I was home, I would have been sobbing. But I had to keep looking up and looking at the window and like people watching and stop thinking about the book so that I could get through it without making myself a puddle on the floor at Panera. And The Nightingale has become one of my favorite historical fiction, World War II historical fiction. Loved both of those. Yeah, and they both have stuck with me. And this was my first Kristen Hanna. The Nightingale was my first Kristen Hanna. And yeah, I just love it. Okay, let's keep going. I see some. Oh, from the gift exchange with Sarah and Lindsay. Love that. Between Shades of Grey. Yeah, I definitely read a lot of hyped BookTube books right at the beginning. Nimona was my first ever that I can remember graphic novel. It was okay. I mean, I rated it 4 stars. Looking back, it's probably more like a 3. Austenland, fun. That was a reread. We Were Liars was super popular. I didn't care for it. 3 to me is such a funny rating. Well, I should talk about ratings sometime because I hate it. I hate rating things because 3 can be like, it was good, it was okay. 3 can also be like, yeah, I didn't really care for it. Clearly with We Were Liars. Mindy Kaling, look at that, Before I Fall. Okay, here's another one, Blackmore. I loved Blackmore. And Edenbrook. That's going to be coming up, I think, too, because I read them pretty close to each other. Blackmore, see, this is all still before I started my channel, but that's okay. Blackmore is a Regency, what's it called? A proper romance. And I heard about it from Reagan at the Peruse Project, who normally reads fantasy. That's like her main thing. But she talked about these books and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. And I read it and I loved it. So yeah. What was it called? Blackmore. Blackmore, so good. If you like a Jane Austen type romance, but a little bit more easy to read. Melissa, have you read this one? You would love this. You would love Julianne Donaldson. You need to read that. Oh, thanks, Noah. Everyone give this video a thumbs up so more people see it. That's okay. Pride and Prejudice and Pride, Prejudice, and Cheese Grits. These were so cheesy. Literally. I read that one and there's a Persuasion. I forget what the Captain Wentworth. Yes, they're like set in the South, modern day retellings of Jane Austen's books set in the South. Silly. I don't remember anything about An Unbroken Heart. I Am the Messenger. I read because I loved The Book Thief, but I do not remember it. Look, I gave it 5 stars. I don't remember it at all. It was strange. I remember that. The Letter Writer. Oh, Anne Rinaldi. She writes YA / I think it's YA, not middle grade, historical fiction. I really enjoy those, but I don't remember this one. Rebel Bell, another hyped BookTube book. 3 Wishes was an audiobook. I listened to that on a car ride. I remember that, but I don't. And it's about 3 sisters. Triplets, I think. Salt of the Sea, I did not like as much as I liked Between Shades of Grey. But it does stand out to me. I mean, if we're talking about books that stuck with me, I can definitely remember there were four different main characters. One of them was a German who was working on the boat. And then the other three were refugees from different places, and they all kind of come together in super short chapters. She's famous for that, but also because we were switching perspectives between each chapter, it was too choppy for me. So while I thought it was good, I also didn't like it quite as much as the other one. Anna and the French Kiss, big fat thumbs down for that one. It stuck with me because I hated it. Oh man. Live celebration to make your TBR explode. That's so funny. You guys are so great. Oh, good. Melissa, yeah, write it down. Julianne Donaldson. There's Blackmore, which we just saw, and then Edenbrook is another one. They should be right here next to me. I'll find them later. They're very good. Very good. Okay, keep going, Krista. This will be too long if I don't. The Goose Girl, which I reread this year or last year and loved. The Diviners, another BookTube favorite, which I did not like at all. And I listened to the audiobook, which people said you should do. I didn't care for it. 13 Reasons Why I didn't like. It's not 4 stars. The Secrets of Midwives, I remember loving, but I think I read that for a in real life book club with some of my friends from my church. Oh, Night. This one stuck with me. This is, excuse me, Elie Wiesel. So good. No, Deb, I don't read a lot of thrillers. Banger after banger. Oh my goodness. Night by Elie Wiesel. His story of being taken with his dad and put in a concentration camp, and just it felt so honest. I mean, he was a kid, and so his emotions were very real, like the anger he felt with his dad for not protecting him, and just his childlike reactions and responses emotionally to what was going on felt very real and very honest. Oh, it was so good. The Siren, nothing. The Court of Thorns and Roses, no thank you. Love Does, Eleanor Park, none of these. Oh, I reread Harry Potter that year. Look at there's a couple of them. Yeah, no. Oh, how funny. These are super popular. P.S. I still love you, and I only gave it 2 stars. How sad. Whoops. Clearly, I didn't love all the popular books on BookTube. I still reread them, or still read them. Sisters of the Traveling Pants is a favorite from when I was younger. Reread that one. Eligible stands out to me because it was not good. Modern day retelling of Pride and Prejudice that I did not love. Oh, yeah, I did not like A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I did not like the next one. Okay, here's the biggest problem I had with those, besides the fact that it was way too steamy for me. She puts too many ellipses and dashes in her writing, and once I saw it, I couldn't stop seeing it. I think on one page I counted 14 dashes. I'm like, can we find a different way to write? It was just her style of writing that really distracted me. It was really bad. Sarah, I listened with this reread that I did in 2016. I listened to the audiobooks narrated by Jim Dale of Harry Potter, and they're so good. Jim Dale does a spectacular job of narrating the HP books. So good. Rose and the Dagger. Oh, A Monster Calls. This was a pick me up off the floor afterwards because I was in a ball sobbing grief book. Sarah, pick up a Sarah J. Maas book and you'll see lots of ellipses. Yeah, Monster Calls was very impactful for me. middle grade, about a young boy dealing with grief and a tree that comes and tells him stories. I don't remember anything about some of these. Oh, this is part of the Lunar Chronicles. Cute. Oh, here's the other one. Eden Brook. Loved it. 5 stars. 5 stars. Another Rudisipetties. I didn't like this one as much as the first two. But look at me in 1 year reading 3 from the same author. Go, Krista. Oh, Sold is a YA story about being kids sold into slavery, basically sexual slavery or indentured, whatever. I can't think of the words, but it was very moving, very moving. Catcher in the Rye is the worst. I can't stand Holden Caulfield and his whiny baby self. Oh, man. Yeah, I haven't listened to Stephen Fry's narration of Harry Potter. I just know that I love Jim Dale's version of it. Yeah, Catcher in the Rye is the worst. The worst. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Oh, that was a graphic novel of it. I didn't love it. Before the Fall, didn't love it. Yeah, here's another Glittering Court hyped booktube YA fantasy. Got sucked in. Oh, The Light Between Oceans. Okay. The Light Between Oceans is what I love about that one. This one did stick with me a lot because I really could feel the moral dilemma of the husband, the man. So I don't know if you guys have read The Light Between Oceans. It's so good. It's about this man and his wife who live on a remote island off the coast of Australia, and they have to man the lighthouse, and they only go into town like maybe twice a year. But this boat washes ashore, and it has a man who's died and a baby. And backstory: the husband and his wife, she had miscarried quite a few times, a couple of times. And so they have this baby that washed ashore, and so they care for it until they can go into town. And the man really struggles with how hard do we look for the birth mom, like, or do we just keep this baby and say that it's ours? Like, last time we were here, we were pregnant, so it makes sense that we would have this baby. Like, so many moral issues that he had to really struggle through, and you could feel it. Oh, I just thought it was so well done. Yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful writing, beautiful. Yeah, Amy. I told you rating books is really difficult for me. Okay. Keep going, Krista. Keep going. Amish Christian fiction. Harry Potter again. Ember in the Ashes. Now, this is a YA fantasy that I did enjoy. I only read the first 2, though. I listened to the audio, and they were very, very well done on audio, but I never carried on with the series, so don't remember it. Night Circus. I mean, I remember it, but just didn't finish the series. Night Circus was a super popular one that I loved. I've never reread it, and I don't know that I would reread it, but I did enjoy it. Sacred Lives of Minnie Bly. That was intense. Parts of that were intense. Here's some more YA. A Great and Terrible Beauty, Miss Peregrine's. Those are definitely BookTube made me do it back in the day. Junebug, don't remember that one. Oh, I think my friend picked that off my shelf for me. I did a little random, you pick my book. Here's my first Ruth Ware. 2 stars. I did not like this book at all. And this is where I started to discover that I do not like unreliable narrators. They make me crazy. 6 of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Look at that. Back to back. Right in a row. 5 stars, 5 stars. Love. Miracle Morning. Oh my word. I did a 1 month where I did Miracle Morning every morning, and I vlogged it. That was fun back in the day. Unblemished. Yeah, Wolf by Wolf. Oh, Wolf by Wolf. I think Wolf by Wolf was my first solo book chat. I don't do a lot of solo book chats still, like solo reviews. But Wolf by Wolf, I think, was my first and one of my very few solo reviews that I've done. I'm glad you're enjoying this, Deb. Thank you for that feedback. You enjoyed Woman in Cabin 10K. Interesting. I think what I don't love is when the narrator is unreliable because of alcoholism or drugs. Like because they are making the choice or have whatever, like an addiction. I just don't like that. It's just not fun for me. Look. Yeah, but people do enjoy it. Yeah, Night Circus was very different. Oh, that's good to know. Maybe if I reread it, I'll listen to it because I love Jim Tail. Okay, let's continue. I didn't realize I read a Lisa Genova book so early. Love Anthony. I enjoyed it. 4 stars. I honestly cannot remember anything about it. Ugh. Strange and Beautiful Sorrows. I'm changing that right now. That should not be a 4-star read. That was weird. Oh, Life in a Jar was so good. It's a nonfiction about this woman who helped rescue children during World War II and put their names in jars and buried them in her backyard. Oh, so good. Deck the Halls. Life-changing magic of tidying up. No, that was too frou-frou for me. That's funny. She was a little too like, talk to your purse and tell it thank you. I'm like, no, I'm not talking to my inanimate objects that I'm trying to get rid of. Oh my word. Ava Lavender was just weird. It was just too weird for me. Life in a Jar is very good. I would recommend that. Tons. And I believe there is a fiction book or maybe just more than one nonfiction about her life. Irina Sendler. She's so good. Interesting. See, some people can read that book and it can have such a profound impact on them. For me, I was like, girl, don't tell me to rip up my pages of my books and just keep the ones that have good quotes and say thank you to my shoes for getting me around during the day. Like, I'm sorry. I couldn't with her. It was too frou-frou. Okay, carrying on. P.S. I Like You. I listened to this in the car. It was a fantastic car read because you don't have to pay attention. Charles Martin. I think this was my first Charles Martin, Long Way Gone. I really enjoyed that. I don't remember Before We Were Strangers. And that's it. That's the end of 2016. Oh, whoa. Let's not go so fast. Let's move right on into 2017 because otherwise we'll be here forever. So that was 95 books. In 2017, I read 101. It was my first year ever. So you can see, like in 2015, I discovered BookTube and I read 98. Before that, it was 61, 64. So this is more my pre-BookTube days. And then 2015 goes right up, 2016 up, and then 2017, record-breaking year, crossed into the 100s. I want to see if I can put it in order of, oh, other way. Other way? Okay, it was already that way. Let's see. I don't talk to my inanimate objects, Rainey. No, I do not. The whole sock folding thing. That's funny. I'm so sad that the Shadow and Bone series is on Netflix. I still have to read the 3rd one, first of all, but I don't have Netflix anymore. So that's sad. The only thing stuck was folding my shirts. That's funny. I love your tidying up. Okay, here we go. 2017. I reread. This was my second time reading The Total Money Makeover. I think I probably skim read it. I only gave it 3 stars because I don't know. It wasn't like a compelling read. But I do Dave Ramsey financial ideas. I have applied a number of his principles to my life. North and South is so good. But I like the train scene in the adaptation is just my favorite. Richard Armitage. Oh, what a gem. What a gem. Oh, see, why did I give All the Light We Cannot See 4 stars? To me, it is not a 4-star read. I'm changing it as we go. Hi, MJ. I'm glad you found me. This will be saved. Yes, it will be saved. I think you have to click into the lives part of the videos on my channel. I try to put them in, I'll try to put it in a playlist as well for the rest of my lives. Attachments also should not be 4 stars, 3 stars. I shouldn't be going in but changing. That was my honest reaction at the time. Stop changing it, Krista. Yeah, Ocean at the End of the Lane. I did not like it. Why does it have 4 stars? Maybe because it was unique and different. I listened to the Ocean at the End of the Lane and it was just so weird. But I was on a flight. Where was I going? I was on an airplane and it kept me company on the airplane. Winter Garden is so good. Yeah, I cried a lot. And that's when I discovered that Kristen Hanna has the ability to rip my heart out and break it into a million pieces. I just get so drawn into her storytelling. I know that her writing is not like deeply literary, but she is a good storyteller. That's all I know. The tea is hot. Yeah, I need to stop changing the ratings though, Christy, because I feel like that was my honest feeling at the time. But looking back, now it's still 4 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago, whatever. Perks of Being a Wallflower. I did not enjoy that. And I really didn't enjoy the movie. A List of Cages. I don't even remember it. I know it has to do with foster care. Apparently I loved it, but I don't remember it. Oh, I loved this Titanic book, The Girl Who Came Home by Hazel Gaynor. That was my first Hazel Gaynor book, and maybe my only still. Oh no, I have read one other by her. We'll get to that later. But yeah, I really loved this historical fiction about the Titanic, The Girl Who Came Home. So good. Mouse is one of those graphic novels that everyone seems to love, and I couldn't stand it. I thought it's the son talking to his father about his father's experience during World War II. It's unique in that the people, like they're people when they're having a conversation, but when he's going into his father's memories, they like the Nazis are rats or cats and the Jewish people are mice or something like that. So they're animals, cats and mice, I think. But I just found the son so irritating in the way that he talked to his father. Ugh. And I didn't care for the art style in Mouse. So that stands out to me because I didn't like it. But it got 3 stars. I mean, it was still an interesting story. Burial Rites is a polarizing book. Like some people really love it and some people really hated it. I don't mind a bleak story, apparently. Sometimes I don't like books that are super slow. This one I feel like was pretty slow, but I loved it. About the last woman who was executed in Iceland. Death Penalty. Anne of Avonlea. Oh, I love it so much. I stuck with Mouse and read part 2. Ooh, spicy take. I did not like Every Heart a Doorway, and I will not and did not continue in the series. Ugh, Heartless. I don't really remember that very much. The Secret Keeper was so good. Our Broken Hallelujahs. This is my cousin. You guys, if you just watched my vlog a couple weeks ago where I went to my cousin's house in Charlottesville, this is her, Rebecca. She wrote a book, Our Broken Hallelujahs, and part of my story is in there of my dad's passing and my sister's passing. That is all part of it. It's a Christian nonfiction about grief and praising God in the midst of the hard times. So if you need that in your life, write it down. Our Broken Hallelujahs by Rebecca Bertram. Oh, Rainy, you DNF'd Every Heart a Doorway. Interesting. Interesting. Let me see. I'm got to go back into comments here. Thank you, Chloe. I did not like Perks of Being a Wallflower, Sarah. No, I don't know, Amanda, if it changes. Does anyone know this? Does it change the date red? I don't think so. I don't think so. I just need to readjust. Yeah, looking at old ratings is strange. I feel like I was pretty generous with some of these because looking back, they're higher than I would give them right now. Yeah, for Dave Ramsey, maybe not the best gift. Let's see. Melissa, I love the eye roll. Yeah, I tell you, it's pretty polarizing. It doesn't surprise me, Chloe, that it was not a book for you. I could have guessed that. But because Kristen Hanna is a master storyteller. That's what I think. She may not be like really deep and have a lot of layers, but she can spin a yarn. She can tell a tale. Rainy, I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Oh goodness. No, she only has just the one right now, Our Broken Hallelujahs. Oh, good, Terry. I did read The Forgotten Garden way before BookTube days. That would have been on there like 2013 or 2014. Not way before, but a couple years before. That was my first Kate Morton, and I loved it. Yeah, Rainy, look it up. It's so good. So I'm biased because she's my cousin, but I think it will make you cry, but also make you think and help you to have perspective. I think it's good. Oh, yeah, good point, Melissa. I'm going to stop changing my ratings. I don't like that everything gets shown on my feed. This is so true. This is so true, Cami. The more you read, the more critical eye you have, the more mature you are as a reader, all of that. And the more perspective you have just because you've read so many more books. And so a book that you might have loved at the time, 4 years later, is like, does that really stand up? I don't know. Good point. Good point. Okay, let's carry on. Station 11, I loved. I remember that there were some creepy scenes, and I wasn't expecting that. But this is a little bit more literary, kind of futuristic, I don't know, just pandemic type not apocalypse, right? Dystopian type read. Loved it. Did not like Illuminae. I see if I were to rate it now, I would give it a 2. The Martian, I loved. Brooklyn. Oh, Homegoing stands out. Oh yeah. See, I can still remember how I felt reading Homegoing, which is, if you like short stories, Homegoing would be a good one because I feel like every chapter is a short story, but we follow generation after generation of these two sisters who didn't know each other. So it's not like they started together. It's just they have the same father and their paths. And so their family tree takes totally different paths. And it was historic. Like, you learn the history of Black people's lives in America, like how from this one country, like coming here, and from everything from civil rights to slavery to Malcolm X to Harlem Renaissance, like so many different things, but also what life was like still in Africa through that family tree. It was so good. Homegoing. Oof. Have you guys read Homegoing? Melissa, this is a good question. I never was like secretive, I guess you could say, about my booktube channel. I was like telling people about it all the time. I worked at a church at the time, and I was telling people at church that I started. Well, my friend from my church also started a channel at the same time. She doesn't have a channel anymore, but we started at the same time. And I told my cousin, one of my cousin's daughters was in one of my early videos, like second or third video she did with me. So I told my family about it right away because it's fine. Like, it's just a hobby that I have. They all knew I read anyway. Like, they all knew I was a reader, but I didn't have a, like, hesitation. I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I didn't care. I just told everybody, look what I'm doing. It's kind of cool. Check it out. Subscribe. That's annoying. That can affect the reading enjoyment. Do it, Monet. Step out of that comfort zone. You might be surprised. Okay, let's keep going. Homegoing. So good. Anne of the Island. Oh, my second favorite. I like number 1 the best. Number 3 is my second favorite, but I also love number 2. And then I also love Rilla. The ones in the middle there, I don't love as much, but I love the first 3 and I love the last one, book 8. The Circle. See, that is not a 4-star read. That's funny. Before I Go to Sleep was pretty cool. Here's some thrillers for those of you who are looking for a thriller. Before I Go to Sleep was a thriller. So in 2017, I asked 12 booktube friends to recommend a book to me, and I put it in a jar, and every month when I did my TBR, I would pull one out and I would read it. So this was recommended to me by Julie. I believe her name was A Girl in a Book. She does not make videos anymore. But yeah, that was a fun project that I did in 2017 on my channel. Girl on the Train, another unreliable narrator. Didn't like it. Everything. I predicted the ending, which doesn't happen all that often. Natalie, that's funny. Welcome. We're just checking out. This is like just checking out books I've read in the last 5 years that stand out to me. Lilac Girls, loved. Don't remember Looking for Alibrandi. This is one of those that was recommended to me by the booktuber recommends, and I don't remember the book at all. Wonder, so good. Okay, Rose Garden stands out to me because I remember Bree from Bree Hill, who is one of the big book sisters with Chloe, but she doesn't make YouTube videos. She's very active on Instagram, Falling for Romance. Bree is the one that introduced me to Susanna Kearsley, and my first one was The Rose Garden, and it's so good. I loved it so much, and I've read a couple other Susanna Kearsleys since then, and I also really loved them. Here's my attempt to read more graphic novels, page by page and in real life. Didn't care for either one of those. This was super interesting, a nonfiction called In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. This was a booktube darling. Like, I heard about it through other people's channels. And it was the story of Yeonmi Park escaping from North Korea into South Korea. Very good. Very interesting. Just because I don't know much about North Korea at all. Oh, I'm just going back through comments a little bit. Yeah, I had a lot of fun asking people. I might do something like that again next year because it was kind of fun to have one random pick every month from somebody that I already know and trust and who knows me. Well, they didn't know me that well at the time, so I just asked for a favorite of theirs to recommend to me, and so that's how that all came about. It was pretty cool. Oh, good. Yay. I'm glad you're loving it. I feel ya. Worried about ruining it. Yikes. I liked The Winter Sea as well. So good. Wonder. Yay. Okay, keep going, Krista. I don't remember The Vicar's Daughter at all. Fahrenheit 451, I did not like at all. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, Still Life. I started the Louise Penny series. I listened to it on audio. Actually, I've listened to the first 7 now, all of them on audio. So good. The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. This definitely sticks with me because I read this at camp. Yep, it was in June. I was at camp with kids from my church, and every night I would read to the girls in my cabin a little bit more of this book to help them fall asleep. It was a wonderful way to read that book, and it was perfect length. We finished on the last night. It was perfect. Christy, I would not pick you. That would be horrible. Horrible. That's so funny. No, Sarah, I'm going to. As soon as I finish the 2 that I'm reading right now, that is my next pickup. It's going to happen. Oh, funny. It's so funny. Okay. Here we go. Keep going. I did not like Parable of the Sower. I bet he read that with April from Getting Hungry with It. It was a little too much, a little too gory, a little too unbelievable. Yeah. But I've read Kindred. We'll get to it in newer years. I don't know if we're going to get through all 5 years. Let's keep going. Yeah, doesn't stick with me. None of these. Ready Player One, even Darker Shade of Magic, Invisible Thread. Oh, this was pretty cool. And Invisible Thread is a nonfiction about this woman who randomly gave money to a homeless boy, and it kind of sparked a friendship, and it just tells their story. I thought that was pretty cool. How sometimes the littlest act can have immense impact on your life and the lives of others. Very cool. Olive Kittredge. Oh, see, when I think of this book, I think I did not like that book. And yet I somehow gave it 4 stars. What? I did not like Olive Kittredge. Rebecca, I don't remember some of these. Book 5. Oh, yeah. Least favorite book of the year, the first book of Calamity League. Why did I even finish it? The cover was so cool. It was weird and dark, and I did not understand what was going on. Don't read it. It's like all these girls trapped in a home, but they were basically kidnapped, and it was some kind of cult type of a thing. It was not like a cult, like a religious cult. It was weird. It was weird. Let's see. Rainey, I'm glad I'm not alone about Olive Kittredge. Yeah, but Melissa, sometimes books stick with me for different reasons. So I'll just keep going. I just need to stop coming back to check comments so much, or do it quicker. AJ Fickery, cute, but not. Oh, there's my first Frederick Bachman. I loved it. Emma, so good. I always love when there's one that I didn't rate. Why didn't I rate it? The Kitchen House was so good. And Dark Matter. This Dark Matter is an example to me of you should read more science fiction, Krista, because you often really enjoy it. The Martian, 5 stars. Dark Matter, 5 stars. Kindred, which has time travel, technically that's science fiction, right? 5 stars. That has a historical element, so that makes sense, but we didn't get to that yet. Dark Matter was really cool. I like Blake Crouch. I'll read pretty much anything. See, Colleen Hoover, 4 stars? No, Krista, you did not think that was a 4-star read. Mistborn, though, there it is. Here is my dipping my toe into the horror genre, Bird Box, and I loved it. What? That always makes me laugh that I loved it so much. Sarah, that's so funny. I hear people all the time say there should be half stars. And I'm like, no, I have hard enough time already with just the 5. Thanks, Chloe, for popping in. Have fun putting your kids to bed. Amazon doesn't have coders smart enough for half stars. That's funny. Mistborn is a fantasy, the first in a fantasy trilogy in this world that Brandon Sanderson has created. And I finally finished it this year, or last year, I should say, 2020. Before We Were Yours, I loved. Look, there was a lot of good ones right in a row there. 4, 5, 5, 4, 5. But see, I don't think I would say Before We Were Yours was better than Hunted. I think the reason this was only 4 stars is because I didn't care for the present day timeline as much as the past timeline. But what blew me away, I didn't know until almost near the end of Before We Were Yours that it was based on true events. That blew me away. Let's see. What stands out to me? I'm just going to kind of go a little faster. Born a Crime, only 3 stars? No, see, that should have been more. I liked listening to Trevor Noah talk because he has a South African accent, and that's lovely. Here's a booktube made me do it, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. And I didn't like it enough for 4 stars. That's so funny to me. Another booktube made me do it, The Upside of Unrequited. Here's the other Hazel Gaynor, Last Christmas in Paris, a novel of World War I. It's an epistolary novel, and it was so good. Peace Like a River. That's the book that Katie at Life Between Words put in my recommendations jar for the year. That was a recommendation from her, and I loved it. Another kind of slower read. Okay, let's see. Kay, you should pick up Before We Were Yours. It's really good. Christy, no, I have not yet read Skyward, but I want to. Score. That is a great find. No, I did not read a nonfiction to go along with it, but I did a Google deep dive. Not deep dive, but like a shallow dive into Google background information about it. Oh, Melissa, I think you'll enjoy Hazel Gaynor. I close my eyes and I pick a number. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes it feels that way. Oh, man. Krista's next. BookTube made me do it. Chapter tag include. You're hilarious. That's funny. Okay, I think that's the end of 2017. We're moving right along. Let's go up to the top. All right, 2018, I read 126. Just keeps going up. Oh, Persuasion, my favorite Austen. But that wasn't my first book of the year. I reread it. Okay, Guernsey was my first book of the year. I remember that. I loved Guernsey. Why isn't that 5 stars? Westingame was so cool. Oh, because there's no dates. Oh, there is dates. Why does this have different things on it? Sorry, guys. Weird. I don't know what's it doing. Christine, I will be your moral support. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, the movie for Guernsey was really good as well. I agree, Melissa. Bridget Jones. Oh, look. I think this is the first 1 star we've seen. I really didn't like Bridget Jones' Diary. That's when I could say whenever there's a question of a movie that you like better than the book. I didn't mind the movie of Bridget Jones, but I really didn't like the book. That's funny. Outlander. Some of these I'm like, I don't even remember. Oh, I reread Narnia in 2018. There's my next Susanna Kearsley, The Winter Sea. Loved it. I don't remember. The Twits. I reread The Twits. Oh, March 2018. This was our first middle grade March. Yay! I did not like the Willoughbys. Oh, Secret Garden was so good. Wish Tree. Here's one that stands out that stuck with me. Another 1 star? Oh, shame. That is a local author to me, too. My librarian told me about that. It's not good. Wish Tree is such a sweet story. I read it one afternoon while I was nannying, and I laughed and I cried. And it was my first Catherine Applegate. Did I read Ivan first? I might have read Ivan before, the one and only Ivan, but I loved Wish Tree so much. So much. Look, I gave Outlander a 4. I did. And I think I would stick to that. I enjoyed Outlander. I don't write reviews, Sarah. I start every year writing reviews. It's what the people want. Sorry, I'm going back through the comments. It's what the people want. Okay. I'm glad I'm not alone with Bridget Jones. Here come the runs of 30 middle grade in a row. No lie. You're not lying there. Yeah, because I did read just about 30 for the last 4 years. The War That Saved My Life. I'm not going to take a lot of time on these middle grades because we just came from March and I talked a lot about a lot of these. This one is an all-time fave, The War That Saved My Life. Like of any book, not just middle grade. It's up there. It's so good. Nevermore. So good. Number of the Stars, The Penderwicks. There it is. Snow and Rose. Echo, another one that is like on my favorites of all time list. And then in the midst of all the middle grade, Jane Steele, where Jane Eyre is a serial killer. Needed something to break up all the middle grade. The Girl Who Drank the Moon, loved. That was our first group pick, and it was so good. Here's my Narnia reading, Prince Caspian, making my way through those. Here, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is the first buddy read that I did with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand. And that is when we started talking almost every day because we did Book Buddy-a-thon was in April. Book Buddy-a-thon. Yeah, that's Elena reads books, does a readathon called the Book Buddy-a-thon. And Sarah and I were buddies for that first year. And we read that book and started talking every day, because that was one of the challenges. And 4 years later, we still talk just about every day. That is so fun. I would read it. I would read Wish Tree, Kim, because their illustrations are so sweet. You could listen to the audio, but I love the illustrations in the book. Now, Echo, I would say the opposite. I would say that you need to listen to Echo. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes, Melissa, I just write enough for me to remember. If there's something I want to remember for a wrap up, then I might put it in there, because just the act of writing it down helps me to remember. But yeah, right. Isn't that cool? I love it. I love my Sarah. Jane Eyre is a serial killer. Yeah. Wait, Jennifer, did you just put Crime and Punishment on hold at the library? Or Skyward? Skyward. I think you were talking about Skyward. I was going to be impressed. I mean, Skyward is still, I'm sure, very good. Um, whoa, I lost my spot. Middle grade is, I love it. I'm glad that it's exactly hitting the spot for you right now, Christy. That makes me very happy. What are you reading? Uh, uh, uh. Why? I don't understand. Oh, just because of the ratings and things? I don't know. 21 is the writer review for every book. Yes, Skyward. Okay. I don't understand. Am I out of the loop? What Goodreads craziness? Maybe I don't want to know. Maybe now's not the time. Okay, let me keep going. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. See, I did not think that that was 4-star read. I was bored. Spicy take. Because some people love that book. I didn't care for it. Same with Codename Verity. This was a booktube darling, and I did not love it. But Eleanor, I did love Eleanor, sweet Eleanor. And the Blue Castle. So this Blue Castle sticks out to me because this was the first non-Anne Ella Montgomery book that I read. And I loved it. Valency. It's one of her very few not middle grade books, adult books. So yay for the Blue Castle. If you haven't dove into the rest of Ella Montgomery's canon, the Blue Castle might be a wonderful place to start, especially if you don't read a lot of middle grade. Because a lot of her other ones, like The Story Girl and Golden Road, are middle grade. Mistress Pat, I think, Pat of Silverbush and Mistress Pat, I believe, are adult. Emily, the Emily trilogy is middle grade, technically, but okay. Anyways, that's my Ella Montgomery push for the evening. The Blue Castle is so good. Yeah, it's super sweet. I have Jefferson's Sons. I'm glad to hear that you're liking that one too. Because I think it's out of print now. Sad day. Okay, let's see. White Chrysanthemum. Okay, for those of you who don't read or don't like World War II, I would challenge you with White Chrysanthemum by Mary Lynn Brocht. I loved this book, and I think it's super unique because you learn about Henyeo. I don't even know how to say it. It's Korean women divers. So these women, it's like traditionally a woman's job to dive and do deep sea fishing, but they do it without all the gear. So you learn about these women, and there's this family and these two sisters, and one of them gets captured by the Japanese and one of them doesn't. And you kind of follow their two paths in slightly similar vein of Homegoing, right? You're following these two sisters. But the one who is captured by the Japanese is forced to become a comfort woman. In World War II, they had basically brothels on the war front for the soldiers. So it was pretty brutal and like hard to read about, but it was really well done, I thought. And then you learn about the sister who didn't get captured and the family behind. Yes, so good. So good. White Chrysanthemum. Read it. I have not read the Pat duology, Mistress Pat and Pat of Silverbush and Mistress Pat. I haven't read those yet, so I don't know. I own Mistress Pat. No, I don't own those. The other one that I've read and loved is Jane. Sorry, I'm looking over there because I have a shelf of my Ella Montgomery books. Jane of Lantern Hill, which is really good. I like that one as well. See, guys? Let me be a book pusher. White Chrysanthemum. It's so good. Yeah, definitely. I want Katie to finish. Like, I can finish on my own, but I love Katie reading Anne of Green Gables. Okay, keep going, Krista. White Chrysanthemum. So good. Here's another fantasy. Like, every once in a while, a fantasy pops up that I love. Assassin's Apprentice is one of them. I have the first one in the next trilogy in this world, the live ship traders. So hoping to start that sometime this year. Maybe. The Unseen World. See, I gave it 4 stars, but I don't really remember it at all. Homefront, another Kristen Hanna that made me cry. This one was also cool. The Map of Salt and Stars takes place in the Middle East in I forget what country now. Shame. But yeah, it was very cool. 2 timelines like 100 years apart or 800 years apart maybe, and their paths are very similar. Very cool. Christy, look what you're doing. It didn't come from me, Jennifer. Don't blame me for that recommendation. Too funny. That make me laugh. Oh, yay. And here I begin my journey into the Enneagram. Well, it's really the only book I've read about the Enneagram, but that's when I started learning about it because Katie and I hosted our first middle grade march, and she and another booktube friend, Robin from the Driftless Reader, who still makes videos sometimes, we were doing, was it in 2018 that we did yoga with Adrian? So we were chatting almost every day, and we talked about the Enneagram quite a bit. And then I finally read a book about it because I was interested to learn more. Pillars of the Earth, what a chunk of munka that book is. None of these are like, here's a little thriller thrown into the mix. I Let You Go. Oh, this one made me cry, Letters to the Lost, but I don't remember the story. I just remember that it made me cry. My second Bachman, my grandmother asked me to tell you she's sorry. And I didn't think I was going to like it until I figured out what was going on. I thought it was very strange at the beginning. Here's a spicy take, guys. One True Loves. Look at that author, Taylor Jenkins Reid. Look at that rating, 2 stars. I did not care for One True Loves. Yeah. And so I have not read anything else by Taylor Jenkins Reid except this one because I really thought it was so cheesy and I really didn't like it. And everybody loves her. But I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to read her. Oh, Lisa Genova. Every Note Played. This one deals with dementia. I forget. No, that's still Alice's Alzheimer's. I think this one might be dementia. Every Note Played. And he starts the husband is a musician and starts not being able to play, I think. I don't remember. Talk about atmospheric. Tangerine takes place in Tangier. Really cool story. I liked that one a lot. Beartown. Beartown is my first buddy read with Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. That was our first buddy read together, and we have been talking a lot ever since then. Christy trying to push Crime and Punishment on everybody. Yeah, Edge of Lost was a surprise for me. I didn't think I was going to like it. It wasn't what I expected it was going to be, but I can't tell you what the story is now. Where was it? I don't know. It's back up there, but I did like it. Oh, Kelly, I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm glad I'm not alone. Oh, Terry, another. Ah. Interesting. Beth, find like a couple people who you feel like you're book twins with and see how they feel about her, because she is someone that most, I would say, from what I've seen, it feels like most people really love her. I just am like one of the outliers. Apparently I'm not alone. I love Lindsay too. All right, let's keep going. I just unhauled this one, The Book of Lost Things. If you watched my little free library tour that I just went up the other day, this was one that I put in there. Mistborn number 2, a year later. I don't remember this one at all. Sharp Objects, I hated. Hated. Oh, another middle grade refugee, so good. I've talked about that lots of times. Shadow of the Wind is one that I feel pressure to like, but I don't think I do. I never continued with the series. It is the first book in a trilogy, I want to say. Yeah. Here's another second book that I just did not like, The Closed and Common Orbit. Blech. Lola. Here's another second book I did not like. 2 stars. Blech. Thornbirds. Okay, Melissa, if you're still here, have you read Thornbirds? I think you love Thornbirds because it has a priest romance, and ew. I didn't like it. I could not get past that she was a child when he first met her. Ew. No, it's Australian classic. I just can't do it. Educated, so good. Heartbreaking. Unbroken, even better. Oh, so good. World War II nonfiction about Louise Amperini. I don't like, then you have all these like fluff. And I don't remember. Wondersmith. That was a good one. And that, oh, I thought that was, I'm like, that's not the end of 2018. We're in December though. We must be because it's all these Christmas books. Winter Street, How I Came to Sparkle Again, Snow Child. I loved The Snow Child. Have you guys read The Snow Child? It's a little bit sad. It's a lot bit sad. Ah! I'm coming back over to comments. I knew you loved it. Thanks, Melissa, for coming. Sorry, I didn't like your third favorite book. Oh, man. Yeah, Sharp Objects. No. I think Gillian Flynn is just not for me. We both love P&P, so that's good. Yeah, The Snow Child, I thought the writing was beautiful. It's about this couple that a little bit on the older side, maybe more like my age, like 40s, maybe 50s. Never had kids, always wanted to. Moved to Alaska, which is in itself like a tough environment, lonely, isolating, and their sadness has just enveloped them. But then there's this moment where they go outside. I forget why they went outside, and they end up having a snowball fight, and they build this little snow child, and it's just this beautiful moment of connection between this couple, and that stands out to me, that moment and how it was written, more than the whole rest of the book. I just remember that so much. Oh, I just thought her writing in that was really beautiful. Eowyn Ivy. I want to read, I have another book by her, To the Bright Edge of the World, or To the Bright Edge of Tomorrow, or something like that. I haven't read it yet, though. Winter book. None of these stand out to me. I am not, did I read? I must have read. I'm not a fan of Charles Dickens, but this was an interesting take on like a fictionalized backstory of how he came to write A Christmas Carol. Winter book. Oh, I already talked about those. This was an audiobook. Marilla. I enjoyed Marilla of Green Gables quite a bit. It didn't stick with me, but I thought it was a good backstory for Marilla. And that is the end of 2018. We're moving right along. Thanks for sticking with, guys. I was thinking that this would just take an hour, but I talked too much. We started at, what time did we start? 8:30, an hour and 20 minutes. Okay, 2018. Let's see what stands out from this year. Little Women. Ha! DNF. The Secret History. Ugh. 75% I DNF'd it. Horrible. Coyote Sunrise. Loved. Why is it here at the beginning? Interesting. Thousandth Floor. DNF. Cranford. DNF. Transcription. Didn't love. Let's see what stands out. Memoirs of a Geisha. I loved this book, and I read this with Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures, and I love her. And then I got to meet her when I went to Turkey that summer, 2019. Did we go? Yeah, because 2020 summer was pandemic. Yes, 2019. So I read this with Berna in January, got to know her, and then I went to Turkey on a trip to see my brother who was living there at the time and got to meet her in person. So that stands out to me as a fun memory for sure. I feel like I could go back to Cranford and read it again. I just think I wasn't in the right headspace to read something that didn't really have a plot. But I think now that I've seen the movie of it, I might enjoy it a little bit more. But yeah. We Were the Lucky Ones, another World War II. You know, I love my World War II. Oh yeah, Betsy Tacy read along was in 2019. There's some Betsy Tacy coming our way. I watched the Newsies. And so I wanted a book that talked about the Newsboys, and this is the closest I could get. City of Orphans by Avi. It was okay, but I love the Newsies. Here's some 5 stars that I love. Britt Marie was here. So good. Kindred, so good. Here's another spicy take. Tattooist of Auschwitz. See, I don't like all World War II historical fiction. This one I only gave 2 stars. I thought it was not well done. Not well done at all. Yay. You can just go to my red list and find something for your TBR. Good night, Libby. Thank you. I'm gonna go through this year quicker. Where the Crawdads Sing. So good. Let me see what stands out to me. Great Alone, another Kristen Hanna that I loved. I finished a trilogy. Oh, here's March. Here's March. Walk Two Moons is one of those that I did not care to read because this cover never called out to me, but Katie made me do it and I loved it. So good. The grandparents' relationship in here is what stands out to me, and the storytelling. And the storytelling as a way to process, because the girl tells her grandparents stories, and it's her way of processing everything that's going on in her own life by telling the story of her neighbor. So good. Out of the Dust, I loved. Wild Robot, I loved. Hello Universe, I did not love. Oh, there's another Ella Montgomery, The Story Girl, so good. A lot of just 3-star, 3-star, 3-star. I'm kind of flying through middle grade because I feel like I've talked about them so much. There's our group read, Sweep, The Story of a Girl and Her Monster, so good. Okay, now we're out of March, back into April. Let's see. Just catch up on comments here. Oh, fun. Memoirs of a Geisha. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, I loved Britt Marie too. Oh, I've never heard of this one. War and Millie McGonigal. Interesting. Okay, Cami, good to know. Oh, Amanda. Thank you. Julie, thank you for stopping by. I love it. Okay, we're carrying on. This was my first Sarah Addison Allen, The Girl Who Chased the Moon. It was not my favorite. I think I like Garden Spells better, but it was still very cool. Very cool. The Life She Was Given is a Sarah and Lindsay made me do it because they raved about this book all the time. There's another Betsy Tacy. Silent Patient. Oh, one of my favorite thrillers. I don't read a lot of them, but I loved that one. East of Eden, I hated. Spicy Take and Rules of Civility. When I look back at, I don't think I liked. And I actually unhauled Rules of Civility. If I was still changing ratings like I did at the beginning, which I shouldn't have done, but if I was changing ratings, I would probably lower Rules of Civility down to 3. East of Eden, I thought was boring, even though Kathy in the book is one of the best villains. Oh, she's just straight evil. Ugh. Creepy. Speaking of villains, the Home for Unwanted Girls, the nun, there was a nun in this book that was a really good villain. Is that a thing? Can you say a good villain? Sure, right? They're well written and make you hate them. That's done well, right? Let's see. There's Garden Spells. I loved that one. Some Agatha Christie. I read Pretty Close Together. And then There Were None was my first in a really long time. I think I've said it before, but I used to read a ton of mystery back in high school, like quite a long time ago. And then I haven't read a ton of mystery since, but I read a couple Agatha Christie that year. There's Murder on the Orient Express, also very good. Finished a series, didn't like it. News of the World, that's now a movie, which I haven't seen yet, but I also didn't care for that book. Oh, Hum If You Don't Know the Words. I think I read that with Amanda. So good. That's a good question, Sarah. I don't know. Yeah, I did not like East of Eden. And I know it is so well loved. I'm happy to be the oddball on that one because I was bored. I was so bored. Except for Kathy's parts. There was parts of it that were really good, but I think I had overhyped it to myself. And so it just didn't, I couldn't do it. I mean, I did it. I finished it, but I didn't love it. Hi. I love all the highs. That was our first buddy read, I think, too, Amanda. Hum If You Don't Know the Words. And it was so good. So good. And Bianca Marais has become, like, I'll read, she's only written 2 so far, Hum If You Don't Know the Words. And If You Want to Make God Laugh, which I also enjoyed. I think I liked Hum better. I think both of us liked Hum better, Amanda. But I drove to DC, which is like an hour and 45 minutes away. I drove there to hear her speak at a bookstore in DC one Sunday afternoon. I like left straight from church so I could catch the author event at this bookstore. It was super cool. She's very down to earth, and I loved getting to meet her, Bianca Marais. And I could listen to her speak all day too because of her wonderful South African accent. No, Krista. Terry, we have such similar taste in books. There were no parts that were good. East of Eden. I love it. Hum If You Don't Know the Words, it takes place in South Africa, and it follows the Soweto uprising, the student that started with the students. And we follow 2 characters. Beauty, who is a Black woman who comes in from the villages into, is it Johannesburg? I want to say, to find her daughter. And while there, she gets connected with this young girl whose name I have forgotten. Beauty and Robin. And Robin is a white girl who Beauty starts to be a caregiver for, like a nanny type of position. And it's about their relationship, but it's also about apartheid, the beginning of apartheid and the Soweto uprising. Um, and then If You Want to Make God Laugh is about the end of apartheid when Black people in South Africa get to vote for the first time. It starts at that point. So good. Oh yeah, East of Eden was for my Goodreads group. I picked it for that, and some people liked it. I did not. I didn't finish it. Oh yeah, Kathy in East of Eden she's a spectacular villain, but she's horrible. Ugh. Like evil for the joy of being evil. That's now fun for me. Oh, look at 3 Agatha Christie in 1 year. Go Krista. Look at this, guys. Anna Karenina. 2 stars. Oh, Christy. I just don't like adultery in books. And Anna Karenina, the whole thing is about her love affair with someone who's not her husband. So I just could never get behind it. Ugh. Yeah, so no Anna Karenina fan here. Let's see what else stands out to me. Chain of Lantern Hill, another Ella Montgomery, so good. Oh, here I started Maisie Dobbs. Well, I've only read 2, but I really enjoyed that first one. Another mystery, historical mystery. So it takes place just after World War One, I want to say. A female detective, like brand new, starting her detective business on her own. She had been mentored and trained, and now she's starting out on her own. So good. I love it. Some more sequels. Us Against You is good. Assassin's Quest is good. Pride and Prejudice I reread. Yay. The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek. Oh, I like, you guys, I don't know if you guys know, I like Austen inspired books, whether it's a retelling or just something about her life or whatever, but I did not like the Jane Austen Project. Rainey, did I read the Jane Austen Project with you? I think I might have read that. Christy, you're killing me. Yeah, same. Not a fan. Yeah, Fried Green Tomatoes, that was a cute one. That was fun to revisit. I think I had read it years and years ago. Here's the Persuasion one, the cheesy Southern Persuasion, Kempton Wentworth, and Cracklin' Cornbread. Oh, so cheesy. The cheese is strong. There's the other Bianca Murray, if you want to make God laugh. Also so good. Pachinko. See, I gave it 4 stars, but I would not give it 4 stars right now. No, thank you. In the Time of Butterflies, 2 stars. Oh, very atmospheric book here. The Dry also takes place in Australia, and you really can feel the drought. Oh, and the heat and the oppression and how that impacted everybody's behavior, really, and their impressions and their emotions and the intensity of everything. Oh, that was so well done. The Dry. I really need to read the follow-up or the sequel or companion, Forces of Nature, whatever. I don't know if it's a straight sequel or not, but yeah, so good. Susan Meissner. Oh, look at all these in a row. 5, 5, 5. A Fall of Marigolds by Susan Meissner, also so good. 9/11 and the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory dual timeline. So good. Things You Save in a Fire, loved. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Rainey, I thought I had read that with you. It was so weird. I think you might have liked it a little better than I did. I don't know. But it was weird. I didn't like it. The Dry is her best. It's not a series. Oh man, I have like 3 more of hers on my shelves. Forces of Nature, Lost Man, and The Survivors. I really do want to read more from her though. What? It's going to be a movie? Oh yeah, I think I saw a preview or a trailer or something for that. That will make a good movie. It was pretty intense. All right, let's see here. Oh, Sing Unburied Sing. I got to meet Jesmyn Ward that year. I think it was shortly after reading this book. Yeah. She came to my library here in Richmond. What a remarkable woman. And I just love hearing authors talk about their process. I don't ever have a desire to write a book myself, but I love, 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 love hearing an author talk about either how they did research or their process of the physically writing the book and how they do edits and like all that stuff and their why. So I loved hearing from Jesmyn Ward, and that makes Sing Unburied Sing stand out even more to me. I mean, the writing in itself is stunning, and you can tell she really puts her heart and soul into it. You can tell her passion behind it, but also it's and calling a book poetic is not always a buzzword for me, but I just feel like her writing, and I'm not super critical typically, but her writing on a sentence by sentence level is remarkable. I love it. Yeah. And I remember it being like way over sexualized. Like, yeah. That was the Jane Austen project. Not a fan. I am liking, this is the Pink Lady kombucha, and I'm still enjoying it. Yes. Yeah, I've read the one that she has, The Last Year of the War, I think is the one she picked. It's very good. Yay! Happy to explode your TBR. Okay, so Sing Unburied Sing is a heavy-duty book. It deals with the parchment prison that was basically a way to keep Black men still be enslaved and call it prison. But they worked the fields. And it was just a horrible place. It has a little bit of a paranormal aspect. There are like a ghost character that it's a ghost. It's very strange, but the writing is beautiful, and I love Jesmyn Ward. So I want to read more from her. Actually, I read her nonfiction, Men We Reaped, which was also very moving and sad. Yeah, all that woman ever thought about was sexy times. Truth. Ugh. Oh, yay. I love Susan Meissner. I'm hoping that I'm moving them up your TBR. Okay, let's keep going. My Cousin Rachel. I don't like books. I don't like books that don't have a concrete ending. I don't like to be left hanging or have to come up with some people love that, where they have to come up with like what really happened. Did she do it? Didn't she do it? I don't know. And it's left just a touch ambiguous. Wrap it up in a pretty bow for me, please. Oh man. What's another one like that? The Giver, which is a middle grade, which I love, but the ending is a little bit like that, where you can kind of put your own interpretation on what happened, and I don't like it. Do you guys like that in a book? Let me know. Bring it down the Duke. Cute story. I need to read the next one. Look at this, The Count of Monte Cristo. 5 stars. That was a chunkamunka. Such a big book. And I have not gone back to watch the movie, but I know the movie is drastically different from the book. But I enjoyed the book very much. Anna Karenina and The Count of Monte Cristo in 1 year? What? The Glass Castle was good. The one. There it is. The start of the Vanderbeekers' love. Oh man. A lot of these are just books I heard about from BookTube. I Am I found to be disappointing. 10 Blind Dates was super cute for a Christmas time read. YA romance kind of a book. Yeah, most of my Christmas ones don't stand out. Just Mercy is a must read. It's so good. There it is. Disappointing way to end the year. Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. So sad. I need closure too, MJ. Okay, it's so long. The Count of Monte Cristo is so long, but you can do it. Just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah, no, I just don't enjoy it. Terry, I think we're twins. I think we're twins. Yeah, I know some people do. Some people like that. Leave room for your own interpretation. I just don't. Yeah, it did feel very weird. Airfare I didn't talk about. I tried to read this in print and I could not get into it. I don't know what it was, but once I switched to the audio, I really enjoyed it. But I unhauled the whole series because I don't think I was going to continue. All right. Yeah, we're getting to the sun does shine because it's coming up very early in 2020. Just Mercy is spectacular. Uh, very emotional, but eye-opening. I left feeling like, what could I do? But it was very good. All right, one more year. We're not going to do this year, but we'll do 2020. Dun, 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 and then we'll be done because it should take us right till 10:30. The Anne of Green Gables cookbook, which was a gift from Judy, and I love it. And I made fudge and pound cake and raspberry cordial from it so far. Fun. Oh, I reread in October. Why is it showing up at the beginning? Oh, because I didn't put a date for the first time I read it. An Echo in the Darkness. I reread the Mark of the Lion trilogy with Katie towards the end of 2020. I think we finished it in this year, 2021. The Hobbit. Oh yeah, Sarah and I did the Lord of the Read Along in 2020, which we kind of lost steam for. Here's my revisit to the Hagenheim series. I reread most of them, right in a row. Ferris Beauty, Healer's Apprentice, Princess Spy, Captive Maiden, Merchant's Daughter, all in a row. The Goose Girl, reread the books of Bayern last year. I read through the Bible in a year. Oh, okay, here we are in actual. Why is it? Oh, in actual January. Before and after was disappointing. I did read the nonfiction. Who asked me that earlier? I did, and I didn't like it. Whoops. Yes, Just Mercy is a great movie. Thanks for stopping in, Natalie. Why reread a 3-star? Which one? Oh, those. I was rereading the whole series, and it was just cutes. They were like cutesy ones. Because I never finished the series. I still haven't, but I wanted to get caught back up with where I am because they keep building on each other. Anyways, Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors, super cute story. Vanderbeekers, I love them. Song for a Whale, Winter Solstice. Snowflower and a Secret Fan, I thought I would like more than I did, but it was okay. Still Alice by Lisa Genova. Man, that lady knows her stuff. I mean, she's a neurosurgeon, so she should, but she just understands people who are going through difficult mental diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia and some of the other ones she's dealt with, autism. She just knows she can help the reader to get inside the mind of people who are walking through that kind of stuff so well. Oh, so emotional. I cried buckets. Okay, here it is. I finished it in January 31st of 2020, and when I finished, I said, "This will be my favorite book of the year. The Sun Does Shine." I finished it in January, and in December, I could say hands down, my favorite book of the year was The Sun Does Shine. It's so good. Yeah, Amy, before and after ended up being all about this gathering that they were planning. Like the whole thing was really about how they planned it and where they were going to have it and who was coming and all that stuff. And I was like, I want to know more about their lives. Like, I don't know. You liked, you did like before and after. We're not total twins. We're close though. We're sisters. Yeah, still Alice is very powerful. Excuse me. I'm doing more talking in this live than I normally do because we usually stop and take breaks for reading. Okay, let's keep going. The Girl in the Tower. I read this series with Rainey as well. How to Walk Away and a Burning. Here's a great nonfiction if you're looking for just some different ways to like build discipline in a way, or like rhythms as it calls it. Ways to allow God into your everyday. I just thought that that was a really cool. It's a book I would revisit for sure. Fountains of Silence, so good. I think I read that with Amanda. Oh, these are not rated because I did the BookTube prize for the first round. Red at the Bone, Lanny, The Innocents. I didn't like any of them. Harold Fry I didn't like as much as I thought I would. Another BookTube prize, Water Dancer. Fellowship of the Ring, I gave 5 stars, and it's the only one that I like. I did not like Two Towers or Return of the King. Spicy take for my fantasy friends. I have not read Anita Shreve. I feel like I've experienced that a lot this evening, Amy, where I'm looking at a rating going, wait a minute, I didn't really enjoy that book. Why does it have 4 stars? That's funny. Here's continuing on with the Books of Bayern. That's the last one, I think. Here's, we're starting March. We're starting March now. Middle grade, middle grade, middle grade. BookTube prize. That was horrible. Middle grade, middle grade. El Defo was a cool nonfiction about, or graphic novel about a deaf girl and her experience having to wear like a little backpack for her not implants, I don't know, headphones and things that she would wear for school. It's very interesting. I enjoyed that. Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, I loved. Stories within a story. Chinese folklore, so good. I loved Rump. It just was the perfect little book to read at the beginning of the pandemic, right? March 21st, 2020 is when everything was shutting down. And this was just light and fun and exactly what I needed. So 5 stars it got. Oh, I love Brian Selznick's books too. Wonderstruck is so good. Also about deaf. I love books with deaf main characters. I think because I used to want to learn sign language and learned quite a bit for a little while, but never carried on with it. Another BookTube prize book, 1 star. It's not a good experience for me. Oh, I love that. I tried to get I borrowed it from the library for the 10-year-old that I nanny, but I think he's too intimidated by the size. He's not strong enough or confident enough as a reader to pick up something like that. And walk and sing for hours and hours and hours. Oh man. Although Council of Elrond chapter was really long. That's funny. No, I would not judge for a prize again. I've discovered, and I think it was a good experience for me because They were just all too literary, and I just felt dumb reading them. Like, what's the point of this book? I don't understand. It's not fun for me. I I read for entertainment. That's the main reason that I read. And so to read so many back to back to back that were more literary and you had to think too much, I just wasn't enjoying them at all. So no, I don't think I would judge for a prize again. Yeah, I hate battle scenes in movies and in books. I do not like battle scenes at all. I can't picture them. I don't like them. I get bored by them. And so that is a big part of why I didn't like, especially Return to the King. Return of the King, Return, I don't know, the King one. Yeah, I'll just take the movies with Aragorn. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, the dragon in Where the Mountain Meets the Moon is that the one you're talking about? He's so sweet. Sam Gamgee. Samwise Gamgee. He's the best ever. Okay, let's keep going. Look at a romance makes its way into there. What? Oh, I really didn't like Nina Hill. That's so funny. Night Tiger. See, here is a BookTube prize book that I enjoyed. I gave it 4 stars. I really did like The Night Tiger. Recursion. Blake Crouch and his science fiction, just the right kind of science fiction for me. A middle grade I didn't care for, but still gave 3 stars. It's The Bridge Home. My least favorite of Brian Selznick's books is The Marvels. It's still good, but I didn't like it as much as Wonderstruck and Hugo Cabret. A Kind of Paradise. I talked about that a lot in my recommendations and stuff. I love it. Library. Takes place in a library. Let's see. Another spicy take. I didn't like A Place for Us. And a lot of people loved that one, but I did not like it. Oh, see, I gave Two Towers 4 stars. I like the trees. Those are in Two Towers. I like them a lot. Yeah, another BookTube prize book, Boy Swallows Universe, 1 star. The Dream Daughter. Okay, here's my first Diane Chamberlain. Yay! I love her. Lakeshire Park was a NetGalley book. Finally reading one of those. 4 stars, so good. Susan Meissner, 5 stars, so good. And here's the only other BookTube prize book that I did like, A Single Thread, 4 stars. Let's see. Oh, this is the first book I read with Chloe from Always Booked, The Girl He Used to Know. I love the guy in this book. I thought he was wonderful as a boyfriend. Amanda Made Me Do It. Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth. So good. Another epistolary novel. Do you guys like epistolary novels? Yeah, I probably should have DNF'd Nina Hill. Yeah, Susan Meissner is a favorite. And I have 4, I think, or 5 of her books on my shelves that I want to read this year. I'd be curious what you think about Blake Crouch. Anyways. Oh, I love them. That's a buzzword for me. If I learn that a book is epistolary, I'm like, I want to read it. Fun. Okay. Keep going, Krista. Hero of Ages. Look, a year later. 1 a year, 3 years it took me to read the Mistborn trilogy. That's really sad. I think I would have enjoyed it more. I mean, I still loved it, but I would have, if I were to reread it, I would read them all in a row because, yeah, I feel like you would get more out of it and the story would be fresh in your brain. That was a problem I had. Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. Oh dear, what a book. The Wednesday Wars. I think I read it too close to Mr. Marsworth. May May. Yeah, I read them like 2 weeks apart. They're both about um the Vietnam War. They're both set during the Vietnam War era, like 1970s, which I love because there's not that many, I think. But in my mind, Mr. Marsworth stands out so much more than the Wednesday Wars did. There's the second Maisie Dobbs, A Gentleman in Moscow. I am going to be talking about this book in a video coming up soon, but I ended up loving A Gentleman in Moscow, and I did not think that I would. Yeah, this is a good point, Amanda. Only in print. Because they would be awkward to listen to. I wouldn't get the full. Yeah, just like the headings and stuff. Anytime there's mixed media, I don't know how that would work on an audio. Why? Why don't you? I'm very curious about that. Thanks, Karen, for coming. And thanks for your congrats. We're almost done. You didn't love Potato Peel Plus Society? And you didn't like Charing Cross Road? I haven't read that yet. Okay, let me finish. Loved A Gentleman in Moscow. Loved My Second Diane Chamberlain. There's the other Jesmyn Ward I already talked about, her nonfiction. What stands out? Return of the King. Too much battle. 3-star. Too much battle scenes. Gone with the Wind was a Goodreads group, back when I had a Goodreads group. Nothing to See Here was weird. Still working my way through this YA Christian fiction fantasy series. No Exit. Oof. There's a thriller for you thriller readers. It was pretty gory. Lion. I loved Lion. I talked about it enough during Middle Grade March, but I love that story. I saw the movie first and did not know that he had written a book as well. And I didn't think I was getting the Young Readers edition. I think I ordered it from Book Outlet. I didn't realize it was the Young Readers edition, but that's okay because it's still a good story. A case of technology working for our benefit. Giver of Stars was a standout. I just am enthralled by this whole Pack Horse Librarian project. That's part of the WPA, Works Progress something. Yeah, so I love Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek, which I read earlier. And then this one I loved as well. So good. Sweet story. Sarah Addison Allen, Peachkeeper. It's kind of, no, it's not connected to the other one. Just the characters from Garden's Bells and First Frost are in, some of the characters are in the Peachkeeper as well, background characters. The Alice Network sticks with me. That's so gritty and brutal. And apparently I love World War II stories with female spies. It seems to be something that I'm drawn to. See, I feel like I liked Far From the Madding Crowd more than 3 stars. Who knows? I feel like I've talked about these so much. Emily of New Moon, I liked. The series goes downhill in my mind from there. Last Year of the War, another Susan Meisner, another 5 stars. I think I've given all of her books 5 stars. Anxious People, I feel like, is my least favorite Bachman, but some people like it more than the others. Nickel Boys, oh, what a hard read. Kite Runner is so sad. I think I cried. I had to stop and sit down and cry because I was walking. And I had to stop and sit down and cry. Lavender Garden is so good. Yeah, Sarah Addison Allen has just the right amount of magical realism for me. Her style of magical realism is what I like. I don't typically like magical realism, but I love her. Yeah, I just love Gabriel Oaks. Oak. I love Gabriel. Yeah, Kite Runner is so good. It's that creepy old man trope. It has a creepy old man, and he does not go away for all 3 books. Ugh. Oh, Mark of the Lion. Read that with Katie. This was such a sweet, fun read. The bookshop on the corner. If you need ever like a palate cleanser, I feel like this is a good. I need just water. My water. I keep giving Ruth Ware a try, and I think I'm done. Death of Mrs. Westaway, I also didn't care for. I mean, it was okay. It was just meh. Same with it. Simplicity of Cider, just meh. Sometimes I Lie has one of those endings that you're like, what? What just happened? Hot take. I'm with you, Rainey. Gabriel Oak. Yes, could have done better than Bathsheba. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous, Melinda. I cannot wait for my libraries to have sales again. Oh. Yeah, he's the cringiest. Tiffany, I just don't like him. No, he's manipulative, clingy. Ugh. I have a couple more of her books to get to too, and I think they're both in that series, from what I understand. Interesting. Westaway was dull, but Nancy enjoyed it, which is how it works, right? Like, what doesn't work for me might work for you. I love a good, wait a minute, what? Yeah, the ending of that one. Sometimes I Lie. Crazy. The guest list. I hated every character in the guest list. Every character. This is a series I would love to continue. The Secret Book and Scone Society. Kind of a cozy, but not cheesy. You know how some cozies, I'm down to read a cozy mystery every now and then, but I find them to be quite cheesy, usually. This one I found to be cozy, but not cheesy. The Secret Book and Scone Society. I would like to read more from Ellery Adams. Wives and Daughters, I love. I loved it so much. Molly Gibson is a 9, Enneagram 9 for sure. But I'm really mad at Roger. I think Roger needed a smack on the head. I only work till 12:30 tomorrow too. My libraries are not doing book sales yet. Broken Girls, I loved. I read this with Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly and Rebecca from the Book Nester. We read this together and really loved talking with them about it and reading it. Mallory was not my favorite follow-up. I should have just ignored it. I loved Bird Box though. As we saw, Being Mortal. Oh, this is one that I would reread, and I want to push it into people's hands. Nonfiction about aging and what matters at the end of life. Basically, what it says right here, medicine and what matters in the end, and how we are basically failing our elderly population in America. Another buddy read with Rainey, 11/22/63, so good. But also still Stephen King, like pretty brutal at times. Yikes. And pretty like out there. He's crazy. Fighting Words, I read with Katie and Amanda. I love it so much. Deals with um, a lot of hard things, though. Sexual abuse of minors, foster care, attempted suicide, depression, mental health, like all the things are in there. For a middle grade book, it's a little much. It did win a Newbery Honor though this year. It will stay with me for a long time. I loved it. Um, I thought it was very well done for dealing with such tough issues. Bullying is in there. Yeah, it's a good one. Almost done. Walk in the Woods was my first Bill Bryson. I had higher hopes. I did laugh out loud a few times. First Frost. There's the second. This is kind of a follow-up to Garden Spells by the queen, for me, of magical realism. I like it because it's her style of magical realism is quirky and very, very light. So it's like a bell ringing on a door, or the smell of peaches, or like where it shouldn't be, or wallpaper changing based on your mood, things like that, where it's very light and fun. Whereas other magical realism books I've read are very dark and twisty, and I didn't care for that. I like her version of magical realism. Yes, Sarah Addison Allen writes magical realism, but like the story isn't the magical part. The story is people and characters, but then there's like an apple tree that throws apples at people, and if you eat the apple, you get a vision of your future. But like, or this woman can cook food and change the mood of a party based on her food. I don't know. It's just a lighthearted style of writing. I don't know. I just really like it. I'm not making much sense, I don't think, but I like her very much. This was my favorite so far. Number 4. I can't wait for the next one to come out this year. DNF. Why did I put 2 stars? I DNF'd it. I didn't finish it. I don't know. This is a Tia from Tia and All the Books Made Me Do It. Holiday by Gaslight by Mimi Matthews. We're into Christmas. Holopox. I like that one. None of these stand out to me though. Ooh, Winter House is a fun one with puzzles and like things you have to if you like word play, like anagrams and word ladders where you change one letter to get from one word to another. Super cute. Winter House. Makes me want to go there as well. The Woman in White I listened to on audio. I can't tell you what the story is right now though, so it didn't stick with me. And The Firebird Slayings, that's it for 2020. And I think we're going to end there. We're not going to do 2021 because it's only April, even though I have read 70 books already this year. What? Which is more than I read in 2013 and 2014. That's crazy. I'm going to end that. I don't know. I appreciate there's still 70 of you here, so hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you added some things to your TBR. I had fun kind of looking back through the last few years, and I definitely had more BookTube made me do it in those first 2 years when I was still quite a small channel, but also still, I mean, I've always been a reader, but I've been thinking about my reading a lot more in the last 5 years. And so I feel like I'm much more able to express what I like and don't like in books than I would have been able to a couple years ago. It was just kind of fun to reflect and look back at some of the books that that impacted me or that I remember a lot or that stood out to me. So I'm glad that you guys stuck around and hung out with me, and you make this a place that I enjoy coming to still. I enjoy making videos and editing. I don't enjoy editing, but I do it for you because I like this part of it. I like the chatting and the communication and the community, I meant to say. Yeah. And thanks. You're awesome. This if you missed any of this, it'll be saved on my channel somewhere. But I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you and I love you so much. And I will be still doing regular reading. This is a weekend for reading sprints. So that will be happening on Saturday. I'll put up a thumbnail tomorrow and pick a time and all that stuff. I have to see if anybody else has anything on Saturday night. I don't want to step on any toes, but it's Dewey's 24-hour readathon on Saturday. And so that will be a good motivation for me to keep reading, but also a way to connect with y'all. So Saturday night, probably for me, evening, afternoon for you West Coasters. But I love you guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out, reflecting on my reading over the last few years, and supporting me and being a part of this. I love you. You're awesome. And I'm going to go. I'm tired and I need to read a little bit today. I haven't read anything, but I probably shouldn't. It's 10:45. I should probably go to bed. All right. You guys are awesome. I'll chat with you soon. Good night, everyone. Bye.